Blessings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream here at the DRMSH official channels. We are on Facebook and on YouTube. I am your host, Jorge Gil. I am actually the person in charge of all the social media channels. I have a company called Worldview Media, and I started working with Mike around 2020 to help him grow his social media. I also became an ardent student. I was blessed to be able to sit at the feet of Mike. And in my own right, I am a full-time content creator, and apologies for crossexamined.org. If you guys do a little bit of apologetics, you might have heard of my friend, boss, and mentor, Dr. Frank Turek. But tonight, we are going to pitch Dr. Ronn Johnson versus a machine. So I'm not going to delay it anymore. What I'm going to do is ask you to share this stream. Make sure you tag everybody you know that might be interested in this. If you haven't seen this stream inside of the DCW community group on Facebook, make sure you share it there. And also make sure that you post this link in the DRMSH community if you are in. And if you are not in, I'm going to tell you how to get in tonight, because you know that the systematic theology book that Mike started writing before he passed away, and now Dr. Ronn Johnson is going to finish, is going to be shared bit by bit so you can help us polish it and refine it before it's published in the next year or so. But you have to be part of the DRMSH community in order to do that. So without further ado, welcome, Dr. Ronn Johnson. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Jorge. Good to be here. Although, again, this is your idea. So let's see. I'm kind of hoping AI wins because I use it and I like it.
Listen. I'm going to tell you, I saw your comment and you said, hey, it was Jorge that drug me into this. And I'm just going to say, hey, it's awesome. I did it. I'm going to take responsibility for it. I thought it was a great idea because
and I'm curious how it's going to go.
Yeah. I think it's going to be surprising to many of the people on the other side of the screen, and hopefully surprising to you. One of the things that we want to do was to capture genuine reactions from you and from the crowd, because last time we did it, we kind of got a bad feedback from some people. And the reason why we want to put you versus the machine is because you're someone that we trust to continue to help us understand the unseen realm and to look at the Bible through, the eyes of an ancient Israelite, and to kind of shed off all these presuppositions that we have acquired through, pop culture theology or pop culture Christianity, which I know that this was not done in malice, right? But it was just kind of a way that theology is done today that we wish it wasn't done like that, and we can actually go back to the proper framework of the scriptures. So I don't know, what are you expecting? I just wanted to give you a couple of minutes so you can tell us what are you expecting from this.
Yeah, and it comes from my experience with AI, and AI is an excellent computational tool when it comes to Bible. That's the only place I use it in my study of scripture. When it comes to what has been said, ideas that have been put forth, views of something. So I'll ask it, what are the views of the curse of the law in Galatians 3:11, and it'll spit it out. So in other words, when you need something surrounded by what has been said over the last 4,000 years, whatever, that's a good place to start. And then compare chat versus Claude and so forth, and start getting into the different versions of AI and see where some are better than others. I'm not deep into that. I mean, I'm like most people, I'm just on the front end of realizing what privilege it is to be able to ask a computer what has been said. So I'm not finding it to be helpful on interpretation. When you say what is the correct interpretation, it will often just say, well, here are the interpretations. So don't expect it to interpret scripture for you. That's more a level of intentionality that computers have not yet reached, like the human mind.
Right.
So,
well, that's pretty cool to hear you say that, because we are definitely going to be looking at, how special this tool is in terms of how it was designed and how it is put together by the team who's doing this. So actually, I'm going to bring my friend Scott. Scott, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. Good to be here.
Well, Scott, you need to explain to me and to Ron and to everybody on the other side. And I want everybody right now to please, please, please remain agnostic. Just suspend your judgment right now based on what and actually make a judgment based on what Scott is about to say and not what the popular voice is on the internet. Because like me, I'm a user of the tool and I'm a user of AI for a lot of things related to video editing, content creation, 3D animation. I mean, you name it, I love it. But I know that it is maligned within the Christian space. So I want to make sure that everybody on the other side of the screen just give Scott a hearing. Make sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves and just imagine, I'm going to give you this example. Imagine if you would have just passed judgment on what Mike was saying about the DCW. Imagine if you had passed judgment prematurely based on what you were used to hearing in church and not what you learned through, whether it's the unseen realm or supernatural or what does God want, or any of the Naked Bible podcast episodes or anything for that matter. Make sure that we are able to get past that initial point of presuppositions and then let the tool speak for itself and let the expert, which in this case is Scott, speak for himself and tell us how is it that him and his team get this done. So Scott, back to you.
Yeah. So again, good to be here. And, I knew Mike for a very long time because he was our resident in-house scholar at Logos for 14 years before deciding to move out there to the East Coast. Our families grew up together, kids grew up together, actually lived in the same town here. So I'm sitting here in Linden, Washington. Mike lived about a mile up the road. And what a privilege to actually work with Mike. If I had a question, I could just bust into his office and say, and he was waiting for me almost daily, especially when I was in seminary. I mean, what a privilege to knock and, go talk to Mike about something. But recently, as most of you may or may not know, we released the new version of Logos. And with that, we've actually built AI into Logos. Now, as you've already alluded to, the day we announced that, the phones rang off the hook. We were getting dirty emails and people shouting and screaming. And I understand kind of the reaction because I think what people thought was we just plugged the internet into Logos, right? Like we just kind of chat GPT'd Logos. That's not what we've done at all. So we've been working on this for about 2-3 years, actually. And what we're doing is we're using a variety of what we call language models and other AI tools. And we choose one based on its suitability for a specific task. So it's not kind of a one size inside of Logos. It's multiple language models, AI, and so on. And here's the thing, we monitor the effectiveness of these models so we can quickly switch to a better performing model or a reliable model if we discover a frequent bias or any other adverse issues. So what's nice is what I've been saying now, Jorge, to kind of to keep people at bay, the reactions is that this is AI locked down. So what it is actually is it's AI wrapped around your theological library. So it's your commentaries. If you've added Dr. Heiser's works to Logos and so on. So we're just wrapping AI around good, solid content because, again, it's not connecting to random, whatever on the internet. It's, again, locked down inside of your Logos. So and it's powerful. People that will give us a little time to show what it does kind of change their opinion and mind pretty quickly because it's pretty amazing at what you're able to ask, not only your books in Logos now, but what you can ask of the Bible itself.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is here are going to be the rules. And actually, Scott is going to ask the first question and then Ron, you can pitch in and give us your thoughts about what the tool says about what Scott is going to. Scott, what is the uh, the question that you're gonna? What's the first question you're gonna
Yeah.
ask?
So I was just going to quickly show, and then I know you're going to take more specific DRMSH questions, but I wanted to just show you, AI is in multiple places in Logos now. It's amazing what it does to help you create a Bible study, how to write a message. We've got sermon assistance, but what I wanted to show, and I think what we're focusing on tonight, is searching. So I'm going to click the search button. If you want to share my screen, hopefully we're still connected there.
All right. So yes, just give me a second. So I got to make sure. Yeah, we're still on.
There we
So
go.
everybody is seeing the screen. This is Scott's screen. And what Scott is going to do is going to ask a question related to the DCW. Ron, I want you to give your opinion about it. But at the same time, I want to make sure that, Scott, you have a few minutes so you can also show some of the other features so we can get that out of the way and we can get the show on a roll, because I know that that is what people came here to see. And I already see people on the comments saying they're rooting for you, Ron. So the people is with you. You are the people's champ right now. So let's see what happens. So Scott, go ahead on and show us what's happening.
But let me just say this. I would love to have Ron's brain in my head, and then I wouldn't need Logos and AI, right? So I
Right.
think the purpose of the reason why we built some of these amazing new tools in Logos is to make digging deep into theology accessible, if you will. Being able to, you're going to see here, it's almost like we're asking Mike questions now inside of Logos. So we're just going to, we're going to go to search. So it's that little button there on the left. And just pay attention when you open up search and Logos. There's all kinds of searching. There's media. If I want to find videos and pictures, I could look for maps. So that'd be a map search. But this is where AI shows up now in Logos for your Bible and for books. So there's kind of two ways that you can ask a question of Logos. Now, here's the other thing I want to put out there. Everything I'm about to show you with the new searching in Logos with AI is now on your mobile device as well, okay? And that's with me all the time. So what really excites me about this update is I have what I'm about to show, the power of what I'm about to show in my back pocket. I mean, everywhere I go, I now have these two features, being able to ask my books and to ask the Bible. So we're going to focus on books right now. And so if I go in here and type Divine Council, okay, Divine Council, and hit search, Logos now is looking through the books I have in my Logos. And, you're going to see a lot of Lexham because Mike was a pivotal piece of Lexham, the publisher and the content. So most of the articles actually written in here about Divine Council and things are written by Mike, but there's my articles, right? So I could go ahead and click the link here from Lexham Bible Dictionary, which again is an article that Mike wrote. But what's interesting is, I've got a lot of articles, actually. I've got the Dictionary of the Old Testament. I've got many resources that have some information on Divine Council, but I hope you notice that one of the amazing things now is this little feature here called Summarize. So again, I could click the link and read 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, or if I click Summarize, Logos literally summarized all that content. So here I can hit Summarize again, come down to another article, hit Summarize again. And what I like about this is there's Unseen Realm. It allows me to read a lot of content and get to the gist of it, if you will. Now, what I'll do is I'll summarize typically numerous articles for whatever question I asked. I recently asked, I was doing a little study on covenant. I asked, what is a covenant? Logos found all this information. I don't have time to read 30, 40, 50 pages. And so I'll hit summarize, summarize, summarize on kind of those top articles. And then I'll read the summarization and go, whoa, I like that. So I'm looking at here going, that looks amazing. So I'll go ahead and click it and actually open the full article itself. But that summarization feature has really saved me a lot of time trying to find answers. But it gets even better. And I don't know if Ron's seen the new Logos, but what's really exciting is this new feature at the top called Synopsis, where what we'll do is we'll literally stitch together key articles with the question you asked and cite them. So there's Heiser, I see Doug Magnum, I see Douglas Van Noort, and so on. But this is the good news. If you go to the corner here, there's the copy button. So I can jump over to a word processor, hit paste, and again, everything is cited. And so this is what makes AI and Logos so much different than other options out there, is we're telling you where we got the information, okay? And that's the fear, if you will, of someone using ChatGPT, is it will give you an answer. A lot of times it doesn't tell you where the answer came from. Now, here's the thing. I can be very specific. So I just simply typed Divine Council, but I can say, what did Heiser say about Divine Council? So now I'm being very specific, saying, look, I only want
I do want Ron to comment on the answer. So go ahead on and read us out the answer that is going to generate, and then I want to have a couple of hear a couple of thoughts by Ron as well.
Yeah, just the Divine Council, the concept found in ancient Near Eastern cultures, including Israelite religion, referring to an assembly of divine beings.
Did you hit enter yet? Or is
this is the answer, just general, not just Mike, but any scholar.
No. But what I'm saying is, have you hit enter yet? Because I think that's the answer from the previous thing where you just popped in Divine Council, isn't it? Or do you hit enter?
Oh, I haven't hit enter yet. I was getting ready to specifically say.
Okay. So you're gonna do both.
I'm gonna do both. This is the first one where I just randomly type Divine Council, right?
Okay.
I could have said, what is, the one great thing about the new Logos is you actually type the way you talk. Old Logos only really did well with headers, big words. Once you type more than 5 or 6 words, the wheels fell off. So Logos actually understand concepts now, understands language. But this is the first result when I just typed in Divine Council. Continue reading, referring to the assembly of divine beings as heavenly host that administers cosmic affairs under the authority of supreme deity. 1, 2, 3. Those are the references to the material that it pulled from. In the Hebrew Bible, the council is depicted as operating under Yahweh, the God of Israel. Then I've got Psalm 82 and 89. I mean, again, pretty awesome definition. Citing sources, that's what the numbers are. And again, if I hit copy and paste, all the citations come with it. And again, this is on your phone. So what's been happening to me, Ron and Jorge, over the last couple of months is people ask me questions all the time, theological questions. I just jump onto my iPhone now. I do this, hit copy, hit paste, I'm done. It gives them the answer, everything's cited. And they're wondering, how in the world, Scott, did you literally give me an answer cited in like 2 seconds, right? And notice too that Logos is saying, listen, this is generated from AI. Now, again,
you got to check
right, and check for accuracy. It's not AI connected to the internet. It's AI wrapped around your content. Now I'll go ahead and hit enter on what did Heiser to just show that you can be very specific on an author. The other day I've been kind of reading a lot of Spurgeon sermons. Now here's Mike's content, right? We've got Bible Study Magazine, other articles he's written, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, let me say something, because I just saw a comment that I think is important to address. Somebody says, well, ChatGPT shows sources too. Yeah, but what sources does ChatGPT has access to? It doesn't have an access to hundreds of thousands of curated, theologically sound sources like Logos does. So that is a big difference that I think is worth mentioning.
Yeah, let me say copyrighted sources. So here's the thing. ChatGPT cannot quote current scholarship, copyrighted material, or that's illegal. So it has to be public domain, blogs, which is not bad. I think some of the best stuff ever written was written long time ago, right? But I'm just saying, anything current scholarship, and current means, was it 40 years for it to be not public domain? That's the only thing ChatGPT can really pull from, or it's generated from a robot or machine or something, right? So Logos, again, is wrapping AI around your biblical library, your commentaries, your Bible dictionaries, and so on and so forth. But again, what's interesting here is I'm now actually saying according to Mike Heiser, so it's specifically saying the author. Now, even though we see Benjamin Noonan, he's quoting Mike out of this article. So it's a theological journal, literally Mike's words, but this is only Mike Heiser content generating the synopsis, right? Now that is, again, asking a question of my books. But what's new to Logos, this literally only released maybe 3 weeks ago, is we've now wrapped AI around the Bible. So I'm going to leave books. I'm going to go to Bible.
All right. Before you go there, Ron, what do you think about that answer in both? That just popping the 2 words Divine Council on that system and now asking, what does Mike Heiser, what do you think? I want to say, let me put you on full screen right now. Go ahead and tell the audience.
I love it. I mean, that's what we've been waiting for, is to be able to say, what did Mike say about this, that, and the other, or any author, right? And so I absolutely love it. Now, notice you can't say, well, even if you tried to say, was Dr. Heiser's view of Psalm 82 correct? That's not what it's going to go for, right, Scott? It's simply going to cite what Mike has said. So we're still up to the challenge of interpretation and so forth, which we all have to, handle at some point. But as far as the computational ability to give you a synopsis and overview and all that is fantastic. And I'm going to be a part of this going forward. Absolutely.
Yeah. And listen, there are some theological things out there that there is some difference of opinion. Let's take the issue of baptism, let's say, right? Or spiritual gifts. So when you get into something like that, Logos is not going to give you an answer. It's never going to say, this is the answer. What it's going to say is, this is what your library says, right? So again, for baptism, it's going to probably show you the practice of a Presbyterian versus a Southern Baptist, and it'll give you the doctrinal differences in their proof texts and all that. But that's what scholarship is, right? I had somebody upset that it wasn't just give me the answer on, let's say, creation. Is it 7 Logos is going to say, listen. No.
And one of the I was going to say, it really acts like a scholar, because he tells you, hey, this is different positions. This is the evidence for this, or this is the way that they come about on this one. These are the sources that you can actually go look at. I use it every day, use it all the time. Another thing that is very, very important is for us to know that when it comes to what he's doing, a lot of the methodology that Mike used to do research is built into these LLM models, right? So the way that he's trained in exegetical thinking, is trained in textual criticism, is trained in all the ways that other models, the other companies that are training these models are not training these models to do what this model is doing for us. Because this model is for Christians by Christians.
Logos has been doing this for 32 years. The one thing that we've been obsessive about is tagging, is language, things that, just now are becoming kind of the cool thing to think about. We've been thinking about this for 32 years. So we're not the new kid on the block. We have the biggest databases on the planet with regards to theological inquiry and biblical text and language and all that. And we're now giving that to you with AI. So all that AI is really doing is helping me get to the content. But again, it's not free willy on the internet. It's the content inside of Logos. And we'll get to it. The other great news that most people might not know is the price has come shockingly down on Logos now, because we've gone to a subscription model. So it's unbelievably inexpensive now to afford Logos.
All right, so let's do more. Let's do more show and tell, because everybody wants to get to the big show. And then at the end, you're gonna give us, after Ron kind of gives us his back and forth with the tool, with the machine, then you give us the big splash on how people can get it for pennies on a dollar. For real. All right. So go ahead on and show us a few more features, and then we're gonna get Ron in the accused. How do you call it? Well, we're gonna put him in a debater seat and see what he has to say when we put these questions in.
So again, in everybody's brain, there's 2 ways to ask a question of Logos. ask the books. That's your scholars, that's Heiser, that's your reference material, your commentaries. But what we just dropped a couple weeks ago is now being able to go to the scripture. And I honestly think this is the greatest tool that we've ever put out in Logos, is the ability to ask the Bible questions. So again, if I now type Divine Council and hit enter for Bible, here are the passages. And what's amazing is it's not just things like Divine Counsel. I can go in here, we'll go back to this in a moment, but if I say, Jesus is God, I'm basically asking, hey, give me all the passages that kind of prove out the doctrine of the divinity of Christ, right? Jesus is God, part of the Trinity, right? Type in the word Trinity. As we know, that word is not in Scripture. There we go. But I can be super specific. I can say Trinity OT, and now Logos is just now looking for the passages of Scripture that prove out the doctrine of the Trinity from the Old Testament, right? You can type, give me all the major prophecies that Jesus fulfilled. Done. Show me where Jesus quotes Deuteronomy. Done. I mean, you can ask life questions. Hey, my teenager's driving me crazy. What do I do? And it understands what you meant. It'll give you verses on parenting, verses on grace, verses on how to handle a crazy teenager. So what excites me about this is, yes, I absolutely want to get people to Heiser's content and other great content, but I really want to get people to the scripture for doctrine and for life and for other things like that. So this just dropped like 2-3 weeks ago, where we now, there it is. That's what you're looking for. This lets you know if you've got the new Logos or not, both for books and Bible. If you have the new Logos, you now have what we call Smart Search. That's the AI engine wrapped around now the Bible, but also the books in your library.
That is pretty awesome, man. So we're going to try to run through these questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch to my Logos. And then at the end, Scott, you're going to tell everybody how to get access to these. And for everybody watching here, I want to say something really, really quickly. And it is the following. We want to make sure that you guys get to try this for 30 days free. And you're going to get a bundle of resources that are actually yours forever, whether you join the Logos family or not. Because one of the things that we want to make sure is that you have access to Mike's content as much as possible. Also, you got to remember that every time you do this, meaning you join a live stream, you join the DRMSH community, or you become part of the Logos family through these live streams and through the links and the codes that we provide, you are helping us continue Mike's legacy projects through the Michael S. Heiser Foundation. So everything that we do here is approved by Drina, and everything that we do here is in order to keep Mike's legacy alive and to bring you the best of the best. So don't forget that right now we are going to do these, but in a few minutes, if you're just showing up to the stream, we're going to let you how to get these resources, plus the free gift, plus the 45% off the DRMSH community, so you can be part of the book, the team that is going to be helping put this book together for the systematic theology that Ron is finishing up, that Mike started. Okay, I wanted to leave that clear. I wanted to leave that out of the way. So now what I'm going to do is, Ron, I'm going to ask you a question, right? And then I'm going to ask the same question to the AI, and then we're going to compare the answers, okay? And because I want this to be sort of a competition, in a sense that you're going to be saying some things, and then the software, the tool, the machine is going to be saying something hopefully similar, and then we're going to bring it together in. Because ultimately, what I want to know is I want to have this head and this knowledge in my head, what I can practice it, so it can get me closer to God. It can give me the ability to be ready to give an answer for the hope that is in me, and also give me the ability to be a better evangelist. But I also want to have this in my back pocket to be able to reinforce and fill in the gaps when I don't remember things. So I think that is more of a cyborg type thing, like man and machine working together, than just man versus machine. So I think that this is going to be an eye opener for a lot of people. So the first question for you, Ron, is the following: what does the Bible say about let's see. Yes, what does the Bible say about the heavenly host being involved in God's decision, looking at it, or according to, let's say, a Divine Council Worldview Theology?
I hear that question as saying, what role do the created gods that God put over the nations have in decision making? That's how I hear that.
That is a good way to put it. Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, okay. So then 1 Kings 22, you have a spirit talking to Yahweh, giving the impression there's decision making. Psalm 82 presumes it because they're being judged. So there must have been some decision they made that God is holding them accountable for. Job 1 and 2 is often used as a story, again, of one of the representatives of this council, possibly, or at least a divine being, created divine being that has will in front of Yahweh. I'd include that one. Daniel 4 has a watcher mentioned in chapter 4, is it verses 13 and 17? The only place it's mentioned, but one of the verses says, this is a decree of the watchers on Nebuchadnezzar. So I'd say that's a good evidence that, it just says it. It's a decree of the watcher. 1 Corinthians 6, when it says we're going to judge Angeloi, I think the presumption behind that is, well, how could we judge Angeloi unless they had some kind of will over which we can judge them in the new creation? So that would be what did I give you? 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was really, really good. And one of the things that I wasn't expecting, and I'm not saying anything, against you, but it's more sort of like the presupposition that I have about myself, and is the fact that I usually, don't have the ability to quote these verses. I actually have notes inside of Logos, and actually I have notes in my Google Drive, on my Google Docs on these things, and you were able to just pull them out of your hair. So one of the things that I want to do is that I'm going to grab that question. I'm going to copy it here from my Google Doc, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to ask this tool. As you can see, I'm actually using the Smart Search AI tool, and I'm going to say, what does the Bible say about the heavenly host being involved in God's
Make sure you
decision?
switch it to Bible.
No. We're going to do the whole thing first, and then we're going to look at the Bible so we can look at the verses. So I want the synopsis on what it's saying, right? And then I want to do the verses, because I have to do it like that.
You're gonna do a book search first,
right? So a book search first, and then a Bible search of the same thing. Okay, so we're gonna do the first one. So we're gonna hit this one, and let's see what it says, and we're gonna read it. Okay, so you guys heard, and that's everybody on the other side of the screen, what Ron said. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna make it a little bigger, because I know you guys on the other side of the screen can see it like I can. And this is, according to the Divine Council Worldview, the Bible portrays God's heavenly hosts as more than just passive worshipers. They are depicted as a council that participate in God's decisions and help run the affairs of human history. We already explained what these dots are. These are the references. This Divine Council also refers to the assembly of the holy ones, or heavenly court, or heaven's court, consists in spiritual beings who surround God's throne. The Bible promises glimpses of how these council members are involved in God's decision-making process. For instance, in 1 Kings 22, we see a scene where heavenly hosts suggest various means of accomplishing God's will regarding King Ahab. Similarly, in Daniel 4, angels present a decision made by the divine council concerning Nebuchadnezzar's judgment. These heavenly beings are not just advisors, but also act as messengers, delivering divine decrees and executing God's will in both grace and judgment. They are described as instruments for carrying out God's judgments and witness to his counsels. However, it is important to know that while the heavenly host participates in these decisions, they do not form a literal assembly of heavenly counselors. Of God does not take counsel with them in the sense of seeking advice. Remember, this is an idea of the counsel of a king. So, Ron, how do you rate Logos AI in this answer?
Well, to be fair, I mean, it is some nice conversation. It doesn't say angel in Daniel 4.
Right.
So I don't like that it's going to use a medieval, vocabulary sometime. Well, I'm not accusing AI of this. I'm saying this is how Christians talk. And so AI is going to use the language of modern scholarship, usually, that DCW people fight against.
And actually, I just heard your last 4 episodes of the Divine Council Worldview Podcast, and I knew you were going to mention that. And that's one of the things that I wanted to say, that's one of the beautiful things of having more than one stream of study or knowledge, because I know that in Daniel it doesn't say that. And actually, the whole idea of the word angelos, it is not what it should be floating in our heads, right? But I mean, overall, it did a pretty amazing job at summarizing, this idea and giving you tons of resources on how to go about finding this answer. So now, if we switch to Bible, as you guys can see, if we switch to Bible and hit the same thing.
This is what I'm curious about.
Right.
Yeah,
and obviously,
what kind of passages?
Yeah, and I actually have this one in Spanish, because I do a lot of Spanish stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to remove this one from view. And now we got the LSB, the Legacy Standard Bible, and the ESV. So it gives you 1 Kings 22:19-23, right? We got Job 1:6-12. We got, let's see what else gives, Job 2:1-6. And let's see, Psalm 82. And again, that references the Divine Council, 89. Daniel 7:9-10. And this is, let's see, Zechariah 3:1.
Again, I'm thinking, well, that verse doesn't say that, but I can see why you'd put the verse there as a possible reference to a divine council.
A divine council.
It doesn't say that they had decision making in what verse before that, where you had
this one, the Zechariah or the Daniel?
Yeah, the Daniel 7.
Right.
They bring him before him is what I was quoting. Is that a decision? Well, I guess, yeah, they have activity. Yeah. So.
Right.
Okay.
So
I'm going to use this. Obviously, this is better than trying to remember all this.
Absolutely.
Let's use it,
Absolutely. So we got, that's the first out of 5. So let's say the next one, what does the Bible say about God is standing among the gods according to the divine council? How do you explain that to us? If somebody asks you, hey, I heard somebody say that God is in the midst of the gods, what does that mean?
It's a phrase taken right out of Psalm 82. Ada means congregation. I think it's used like 148 times in the Old Testament. So it's a very common term. So, and Mike and I talked about this, and we kind of had a disagreement about it, frankly, between us. Mike has more of a divine council. Well, that's what he's known for, right? The divine council.
Right.
And because that's what literature calls it. But the word in Hebrew just means congregation, group, gathering. It's used for Israel all the time in the Old Testament. So here's how I take your question again. Does the Bible say that God stands in the midst of a congregation of Elohim? Yes. The quote, Psalm 82, 1 and 2, does. Now, are there other passages that depict Elohim, created Elohim? And I would say, sure. And I could list those that, again, come to mind. But you don't have the word Ada used outside that I know of anywhere in the Old Testament referring to divine beings. So the way you phrase the question, Psalm 82:1 is probably the only phrase where that occurs.
Okay, well, let's see what the tool gives us back. So the first one is going to be a book search to give us a synopsis of what it thinks about this question, and then we go to the Bible so we can see verses related to this.
So remember,
Okay.
switch it to book search because you're in all.
All.
Yeah.
So books. Let me go to books. Let me go to.
There you go.
Okay, hit it again, and it gives us the synopsis again. It actually is looking at. I think. Okay. Let's see what it says. According to the Divine Council Worldview, the Bible portrays God as standing among other divine beings in a heavenly court or assembly. This concept is evident in several passages, including Psalm 82, verse 1, which states that God has taken place in the divine council in the midst of the gods. He holds judgment. And then he gives us some references. The Old Testament acknowledged the existence of other gods, but emphasizes Yahweh's supremacy among them. For instance, Moses asked, "Who is like Yahweh among the gods?" in Exodus 15, implying Yahweh's incomparability. This divine assembly, also refers as the Council of El or Sons of God, is a concept shared with other ancient Near Eastern religions, though modified in the Israelite theology to maintain monotheistic beliefs. The role of prophets is linked to this divine council, as Jeremiah 23:18. 22 suggests that true prophets have stood in the council of the Lord. While the Bible recognizes divine beings, it consistently portrays Yahweh as the ultimate authority, the God of gods, who rules on this heavenly court. Ron?
Yeah, again, he's going to take it, like I think he should, wider than standing, like that phrase in Psalm 82:1.
Right.
But does God exist alongside of created Elohim? Yeah, then there's numerous other places you could go that way.
Awesome. So now let's see what it says about biblical verses related to this question, if we were asking just for Bible verses. Again, it gives us very quickly Psalm 82:1, which you actually cited and referred to. It goes to Psalm 89:5-7. It actually goes into Deuteronomy 32:8 and 9, which that will be, the Deuteronomy 32 worldview kind of link there.
Right.
And I think we need to understand that he's doing all this linkage because he's going to, probably all the works that have cited these verses and related to the Divine Council Worldview, right? It goes back
it just
against
demonstrates,
Right.
demonstrates that your search is so important, because I would, instead of saying where does the Bible or Divine Council, or where does the Bible talk about God standing in the midst of gods? That's pretty simple. But where does the Bible define or show that God, that other plural Elohim exist, and watch that grind out? That would be much more powerful. Yeah.
Right. So the idea here is for us to continue to use the tool to dig deeper. I mean, we have to be like the Bereans. For everybody who are just just coming into the stream, some of the questions that you guys ask already about what kind of AI model or large language model is under the hood of Logos, that was answered in the beginning, so you can just rewind and watch that. Also, we're going to share with you guys a way that you can support the Michael S. Heiser Foundation in different ways, whether it's through acquiring this tool or to also join in the DRMSH community, where Ron, you're going to be doing a meeting every 2 weeks, I think. Every 2 weeks on top of the meeting that you're already doing for the other weekly
Daily Dose of Bible.
Yeah, the Daily Dose of Bible, the weekly Bible kind of breakdown that you do inside of the community. And for everybody that wants to go in right now, we're doing 35% off monthly, and you get 45% off if you join yearly, and that is at drmsh.com, and you just click join the community there. So the next question for you, Ron, is the following: what does the Bible says about the Watchers and their sin according to the Divine Council Worldview?
Watcher. Yeah, I mentioned this before. Watcher's only used in Daniel 4. That's the only time that word ear is used. So now comes the interpretation issue. What is a watcher? Well, if you look it up in Hebrew, it means to watch. It doesn't help you much. So there's some kind of being in Daniel 4 that's said to be giving a decree over Nebuchadnezzar to, turn him into an animal. That's the decree of the Watchers, Daniel 4:17, which happens to be the decree of the Most High, Daniel 4:25. So it shows that there's some kind of being called a watcher, not a malach. It's not an angel. It's some kind of a ranking divine being that has the ability to decree for Yahweh. So that's the biblical answer. Obviously, when you get into Enoch, First Enoch, the Book of the Watchers, right? The first 36 chapters called the Book of the Watchers. Now you get into Enoch's view of how those watchers descended on Mount Hermon, and it ties that in Enoch's model to Genesis 6. So that's another question, but the way you phrased it there would be, what's the Bible say about watchers, and really limited to Daniel 4.
It's pretty awesome. So guys, as you're seeing, having Ronn interact with Logos AI is gonna give us the opportunity to truly see how we can maximize this tool. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna bring my screen one more time. I just pasted the same question that I asked Ronn. I'm actually gonna click on books so he can give me a synopsis of what finds inside the literature, and then we're gonna go and see what Bible verses or other resources spits out. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to let it do what it's supposed to do. And then it gives me and is already giving us sources related to Enoch, which is what, Ron, you were mentioning earlier, that's probably the backdrop or the background that we connect the dots. So he says, story of the Watchers is derived from Genesis 6:1-8. Is a significant myth in the Divine Council Worldview that explains the origin of evil. According to this narrative, a group of heavenly beings called Watchers descended on Earth and engaged in sexual relations with human women, resulting in the birth of giant offspring. Now, again, for those who are just joining, these dots are the references where you're going to be able to read more about this. What we're seeing right now is an AI-generated synopsis based on the question that I asked. And it said, this act was considered a grave sin involving both sexual misconduct. Scott, is that you? Is that, I think maybe no? I was hearing something. Maybe it was my headphones. This act was considered a grave sin involving both sexual misconduct and the imparting of forbidden knowledge to humanity. The Watcher's transgression led to increased wickedness on earth, corrupting all living beings and ultimately resulting in God's decision to bring about the flood. This myth presents an alternative tradition to the Genesis account of the origin of evil, placing the blame on supernatural beings rather than human disobedience. And I think that's a bit of a stretch, but we're going to let AI do what it does. The story of the Watchers is referenced in various ancient texts, including the Book of Enoch and Qumran scrolls, and was seen as a paradigm of mistaken values and warnings against cosmic dysfunction. In the New Testament context, the sin of the Watcher was considered a major theological issue with Jesus' crucifixion and the eventual return, viewed as necessary to revert the effects of their transgression. And here you see all the resources that is bringing into account for that answer. Now, Ron,
Jorge, can I jump in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, can I? This is a good example, and I've said this in our podcast with Mike Chu and so forth, that the tent of Divine Council Worldview is big enough to handle division or distinction of views within, what is a watcher, how did they function in the ancient Near East or in the biblical story. So I hear in that discussion there one particular way, and maybe a couple diversions within the discussion of Watchers. So just be aware, and I hope everyone knows this, that when we say what's the Divine Council Worldview on the Watchers, well, there's different ways to express that. So.
Yeah, and I think that has to do also with being introduced to how scholarly work works and how things like ETS, EPS, SBL, all of these other scholarly gatherings sit down and hash out and discuss these things for hours at a time, knowing that what we're trying to do is to move the ball forward, whether it's a mile or an inch. During these conversations, again, this doesn't have any impact in terms of a salvific change of perspective, but it does help us understand, the broad context of the Bible and this how can I say it, these stories within the Bible, because the Bible is a strange book. It's a book that was written a long time ago, and the last thing we want to do is to bring our modern understanding into it. So after this, what I want to do, because I know, Scott, you got to go and you have a gift for everybody who's watching. If you're just tuning in, we're about to give you something that you can keep forever, while at the same time we want to make sure that you support us by joining the community and also joining the Logos family. And Scott's gonna show us that in just a minute, but right now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and see what the Bible says about this complex question. And again, it goes to Daniel 4:13. We will have to read that, and this is one of the things that I want everybody to know, that it is your responsibility to make sure, and this is not only with Logos, this was any preacher, any teacher, any TikToker, any Instagram reel. It is your job to check it against the backdrop of the biblical text. That's what's inspired. It is not homie with an iPhone in his mama's basement talking about, I read this and I read that. I mean, you guys already know what happened with, Billy Carson, right? So let's make sure you're not Billy Carson. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You got to make sure that you check it. But anyways, this is what I'm saying. It gives you Daniel 4. It gives you Jude 6, 2 Peter, and Genesis 6:1. And again, it goes back to Psalm 82. So it gives you references that kind of bring in together, the DCW in a way. Ron, what do you have to say?
Yeah, that's good. Again, it's only in Daniel 4, but I don't mind a search engine giving me more than I could have found in a concordance.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Now, let's put Scott back on. So, Scott, let me go ahead and activate your screen real quick so you can actually show us what you have for us, because everybody wants to be able to take advantage of this. So let's go here. All right, there you go.
All right, now you should see a screen that says the next era of Logos is here.
No, we're still back on. It's still back on your Logos. So you have to bring back the I think is the slide that you were putting out. I saw it just now. Let me see if you can bring it back up. Let's see if you can bring it back up. I actually lost you. I lost your screen sharing. Can you screen share again? Yeah. That's what it was frozen. That's the problem. It was frozen.
Got it. All right. So here we go. And yeah, I see it now. Yeah. All right. So everybody see a screen.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, everybody on the other side of the screen, I'm kind of looking at your questions and I'm going to be answering them in just a minute. I saw yours, DJ, and everybody else. So I'm going to be bringing on to the screen some of your questions so we can answer them. So now is on the screen. There you go.
Yeah, so this is the new version of Logos. And, I think you can see one of the big barriers that has been taken care of is ease of use. And that's because of AI. Again, not AI connected to the internet, pulling random information. It's AI wrapped around your theological content. But the other big barrier that got just obliterated was cost. Some of you have watched these live streams. We show you the power of Logos, and then we drop, the $1,000 price tag or whatever. You can go up from there, actually. So we've now gone to subscription because we want to make Logos affordable for anybody. So for those of you that have old Logos, this new update, again, is subscription. Now, typically every 2 to 3 years, we'd have a major release of Logos, where people have waited for 2-3 years for, hey, what's the new tools in Logos? And that typically would cost $300-400. So instead of doing that with the new release of Logos, we've now gone to subscription on the tech side, which is primarily the AI search engine. There's a lot of other features besides that, but as low as $9.95 a month. Okay, that is a radical difference in entry into Logos than, again, starting at $500, $600, $700. Now, these are the levels we have. We have 3 options for subscription. Premium would be great for just deep Bible study. Pro is where most people land because it gives you the ability to dig into the original languages, but it also helps you teach. So if you're in any capacity of ministry, teaching, you definitely want to consider Pro. And then Max is our scholars level. Those of you that just kind of want the biggest level, you're maybe in seminary, maybe you're teaching at a seminary. But again, look at the prices, 10, 15, and 20. That's it. But the thing to really pay attention to is the books that you're getting at each subscription level. So if someone's watching tonight that has never had Logos, have always wanted Logos, but again, couldn't afford a $1,000 price tag, $15 a month will get you the pro level with a pretty substantial library. Again, 500 books that we're going to give you access to, because again, since AI and Logos is locked down to the content in Logos, you have to have a substantial library. So that would be the monthly option. The other option is some people see this and go, hey, I'm in. I don't want to bill next month and June and July and all that. So you can pay for a year up front, which kind of gives you 2 free months. And you can even go 2 years. So that would be your two-year option. But again, if you want to just try it out, see what it does, $15 a month. And again, as Jorge mentioned, we're not going to charge anything for that first month. So you get a free trial of Logos. Now, if you have, again, old Logos, your price will come down because we give you credit for your old Logos. You never pay for a book twice, and you always own the books you buy. So if you've bought, let's say, Heiser's Mobile Ed, and you've bought Unseen Realm and other Dr. Heiser books or any other books in Logos, you own those outright forever. But what we've done with subscription, again, is the tech. It's the new update, primarily, again, what we saw tonight with AI. Now, this is the free gift that we're going to give everybody that's part of the live stream. We're going to give you Mike's further investigations into the unseen realm. It's a 7-hour video course. It normally costs $225. It's our gift to you for just starting a 30-day trial. Again, nothing is charged for those first 30 days. And if you decide after 30, I don't like it, you get to keep this amazing resource. And it is mobile as well. So you can watch these 3 courses on your mobile device. And what we're going to do here is after you start the trial, we'll give you the website here in a second. It just kind of enters you in. And so we'll pull this report early next week, and we'll just automatically send you an email with your free gift. It's an unlock code. And again, we're going to wipe out that $225 price. You get it for nothing. Okay. So that's our free gift for being part of tonight's live stream. So this is all you have to do. You got to go to logos.com/Heiser. Now, you have to go there by next Monday midnight. Many times we do a live stream, especially with the free gift. We're not going to give the whole world that free gift. So we're going to have a cutoff. That's next Monday at midnight. Now, let me take everybody to the website. When you go to logos.com/Heiser, this is what you're going to see. And again, the first thing you have to do is pick the level of where you want to be. And again, most of the tools you're going to want is at the pro level, plus the 500 book library we give you access to. If you want to do the annual, you just do that. If you want to do 2 years, but again, if you just want to try it out for monthly, just leave it right there. Now, you go ahead and choose the level. I'm going to select pro here. There is a second step where you can add another library, because again, the more you feed AI and Logos, the more commentaries, the more resources, the better the results will be. But you don't need to choose one of these. You can say, Scott, nope, I just want to do the $14.95 a month. Just click checkout. There we go. I'm going to click checkout. And again, nothing is being charged because you get 30 days for free. But again, that little code, when you go to checkout, will tell us that you're going to get your free gift next week. So you have to do this from that URL, the logos.com/Heiser. If you don't do that, the coupon code there will not be applied and you won't get the gift. So you can choose a library. I would seriously look at some of these libraries, especially Gold is kind of the most popular additional library, which again, you'll own forever. But if you just want to try the monthly, just skip that step. And again, we'll send you your gift next month. But with that, is there any other questions or any other things you wanted to say or questions that the audience has tonight, Jorge?
Yeah, we got some questions here, and I actually want to bring in my screen real quick just to show you again. Just go to logos.com/Heiser. You will see this. Also, remember that this is the further investigations into the unseen realm. That's what we're going to give you. You're going to be able to keep it, right? And you are not, locked down on having to have Logos forever. Now, I will tell you, once you get these 30-day trials, and I know that I'm preaching to the choir here, but I know that when you try these Logos for 30 days, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to drop Hulu. I'm going to drop, whatever else is that you're paying for. I'm going to drop these, 3 lattes that I drink a week, and I'm going to be able to get these Logos for as long as I can afford it. So also, I have been saying this for a long time. Usually tell my friends over in Latin America how amazing Logos is, yet they could not afford it. Now, that's, out of the question, because now Logos has made it so affordable that it will be a matter of just freely choosing not to become part of this, not to get the free gift here, the free mobile ed gift. And I remember that this profits will go to help the Michael S. Heiser Foundation. So want to let you guys know this ahead of time, because you guys know that this might look like just a sales pitch, but it's much more than that. It will benefit you probably as much as it would benefit us as well.
Hey, Jorge, I was going to be funny when I gave the levels and kind of the recommendation to go pro, $14.95 a month. That's just such a low price now to have access to this tool. Or the other option is for $1,000 a month, we'll give you Ron's cell phone number, so you can just text him.
Yeah, that would be the other thing.
Let us know if you want to do that. But again, $1,000 a month, you can text Ron any question you want, or the cheaper option would be $14.95.
By the way, are Mike's books available in any of these plans, or is that extra? How's that work?
No, what's amazing is because Mike was our resident in-house scholar, and so much of the Lexham content, which is award-winning. I mean, our Bible dictionary, all the content that Mike helped put together, that's part of the pro level. So many of the answers that are pulled out of Logos when you ask a question again, hey, what is the Divine Council synopsis? You're going to see Mike quoted, numerous times. So that's one of the advantages. Again, at just $14.95 a month, you're going to get a ton of Dr. Heiser content, because when he was with us for the 14 years on our team, he was the one writing that content.
Right. So now let me see. So there's a few things here that we want to answer. So there is a question here. What if you're already a subscriber to these Logos plans? Can you get the mobile ed gift?
Yeah, send me an email at webinar@logos.com.
Okay,
webinar@logos.com.
Okay.
Yep, singular, webinar@logos.com. And I will go ahead and unlock that to your account. No problem.
Okay, so that is a good, just good heart of Scott. I got another one here. It says, is there any Logos online tutorials for the new upgrades? Everything that they found, says DJ, in YouTube is from the previous version of the older software. So I can say that Scott actually came to my studio and recorded some of the upgraded tutorials. And I think, Scott, you're working on a series of tutorials for the new logos AI tools, right?
Yeah. So what's great is if you want to share my screen one more time, if you can still do that.
Let me see. Is a share screen, and let me bring your computer on now. Yeah.
Yeah, so right here, this is new to Logos as well. It's front and center, right on the homepage of Logos. There's now a new little box here that says need some help. So you can type in here Hebrew study. You can type in searching. You can type in, hey, I want to do my devotions. And literally type in anything you want to know. How do I do this in Logos? And hit search. And AI in Logos now will find videos for you. It'll connect you to our community forums because we got a lot of power users that love to help other users, even technical support. So I love this. We have great customer service. You can even call us on Saturday. But what if it's 11 o'clock at night, and you need help? That's what that front and center now is doing. But as Jorge said, next week, I'm in studio recording new videos. You can go to our YouTube channel for Logos, and we do have some new videos there that'll walk you through how to do the AI searching for books and Bible. But I'm going to record a bunch of new videos next week to help you really dig into this. But the big idea is it's not complicated as it used to be because AI kind of solves that problem. Awesome. But we're going to have a lot of support for you.
Okay, the other thing, I got another question, and we're going to kind of just go kind of quick Q&A here. DJ asked, I don't understand, so the gift is only when I get the subscription. You go ahead on and try it for 30 days. You go ahead on and get the gift within a week, and if you don't want to keep the subscription, you can just cancel the subscription and keep the gift. All right?
Yep.
Then I got Brett says, for some reason, I'm not seeing the free 30 days when I go to checkout. I'm seeing the full price being charged up front. I don't know.
Just go webinar@logos.com. There might be a little glitch or something on the page you're at. But if you got any questions not working as we said it was tonight, just email webinar@logos.com and someone will reach out to you tomorrow morning.
Right. Then I have another one here says, JB says, if I already have Logos, how do I get the subscription? So I think it's the same thing. Just log into your Logos account like our other buddy did. You will see dynamic pricing on this on these packages, and then just go ahead on and sign up for it. Right. It's the same way. All you have to do is go through, because those are two different things. One is a library plan, and the other one is a Logos AI subscription. Those work differently, so you're able to actually get billed for that one differently, even though it's dynamic pricing. I got another one here. Say, can I learn ancient languages with one of these plans as well? That depends on what they mean with ancient languages. I assume Greek and Hebrew. There's a lot of tools related to Greek and Hebrew. Maybe you can speak on that, Scott.
Yeah, at the pro level, which is kind of the one, again, that we kind of push, if you will. Premium is great. That's the one step lower. But for the $5 edition, you're doubling your library, but also have the ability to do language studies. So at the pro level, we give you the original text. We give you also interlinears. We give you the search capabilities, the power tools, if you will, to do really in-depth word studies and language studies. So that would be at the pro level or higher. There is one higher than pro called Max, but that's why I highly advise going with the pro at $14.95.
All right, I got a great question here, and it's for all of us. There's a man asking, just got here, did any of these men actually know Michael? So from left to right from my screen, Ron, can you start and give us your summary of your relationship with Mike?
Yeah, we met in 1981, so we're 40 plus years. Trina and Susan.
Before I was born, bro.
Before you're born, yeah. Yeah, we went to school together, taught together, lived together, and just thought together. I mean, he was one of my best friends. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Scott, your turn.
Yeah, I worked with Mike for 14 years when he was our in-house kind of resident scholar here at Logos. I've been at Logos 28 years, and I remember when Mike showed up, and I remember hearing kind of what he was into, and at first, the more I got to know him and bust in his office and ask this question and that question, I became a massive, massive Mike Heiser fan. Was very saddened when I heard he was leaving to go to the East Coast. I knew it was, something that God, a door that was being opened for him. But yeah, and then got to spend a day with him, maybe a month or two before he passed, and we'll never forget that precious, special time with Mike. But yeah, our kids kind of grew up together, lived here in the same town in Linden, Washington. But what an honor and privilege to, I worked alongside Mike for the 14 years he was at Logos.
Well, and now my turn. I actually met Mike, I think it was maybe 2017, 2018, through an interview that I did with the Stranger Things thing. It wasn't even related to the unseen realm. I didn't know that on the other side, my mentor, Dr. Frank Turek, was going to interview him in the I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist podcast, which I've been producing for 10 years. And I said, hey, I got this cool dude that is going to be talking about a Bible study that he did on the Stranger Things. And his name is Mike Heiser. And he said, Mike Heiser, he says, we got him in like 2 months. He's going to be coming onto our podcast and do a podcast about the unseen realm. And then invited him to several meetings because I had several friends of mine that wanted to meet him in the apologetics world. I think it was Greg Kokel and a few other guys that wanted to meet him. So I set up a dinner, and Mike and I spent about 4 or 5 days together every day. I will just follow him to the lectures that he would wanted to listen to. And I think that was maybe 2017, maybe 2018. And then after that, in 2019, we started working together because I took over his social media platforms. I also have a social media agency to help scholars and ministries grow online. And, I think I've talked to Mike more than I've ever talked to Frank, even though Frank is my boss on my 9 to 5, because it was like having like the $1,000 that I pay Ron so I can have his phone number to answer questions. It was like having a scholar in my pocket. Right? No, that was a joke. Yeah. But yes, I knew Mike until obviously he passed away. But yes, all three of us had a personal relationship with Mike, and it was just, again, a blessing. It changed our life, and that's exactly what we're doing this. So that was the answer to that question. I have another one here. I say, is there anywhere to get Dr. Mike's full video teachings? Within Logos, you have a section called Mobile Ed, and that's actually what I'm about to show everyone here. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm actually going to turn Ron's off and bring mine up. And here, when I go to close everything, I can go to actually my tools here, and I can go to, if I'm not mistaken, courses, right? I think is courses, right?
Yeah, courses.
Okay, give me just a second. I just hit something I was not supposed to hit. Okay, courses, right? And here, you're going to be able to see that there is a ton of courses by Dr. Mike Heiser, not only in English, but also in Spanish. So if I go to Heiser, right, and click enter, right, is going to give me, let me see if I can clear these up. Let's see, Mike Heiser, where is it? No, all, there's explains. Let's see, is it, Heiser. Oh, right here is giving them to me all here. Is got the world turned upside down, sons and daughters of God, problems with biblical interpretation. This one is in Spanish. The Jewish Trinity is got divine rebellions, the video series of the world turned upside down, and then it has all these courses are all
mine. So when Mike was working at Logos, he recorded a ton of courses. Actually, he was kind of the kind of the kickstart to mobile ed. And now we've got 200 plus courses. So if anybody's interested, I would actually, that same email address, webinar@logos.com, and just say, hey, look, I'm interested in some of the Mike Heiser courses that could be a part of my Logos. And then someone will reach out to you and let you know what are the options, discounts, things like that for being part of the live stream. But don't forget, as being part of tonight's live stream, we are giving you one of the bundles of Mike's courses, about $220 gift,
right?
For just being a part of this live stream. But if you're interested in the other courses, because Mike recorded a ton of other courses, then just put that in the email to webinar@logos.com, and someone will reach out to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I got another one, and this one is update will be automatic. There's a person that just subscribed, so that will be automatic. I got another one here from Sophia. It says, is this computer download or app? It says I have the Logos app. So give us a quick synopsis of how is it that it works on all of them.
Yeah, so the good news, as soon as you subscribe, you do your checkout, you check out, and have the new Logos, you'll get an email that'll have all of your instructions for desktop. We even have a web app, so if you're at work and your employer does not want you loading Bible software on the work computer, you can actually, via a web browser, log into your account. You can do the AI searching and so on, but also the mobile app. But the instructions will be in that email. But let me just make sure, when you're on the Logos mobile app and you want to do what we've done tonight, just make sure that you select Smart Search. There is still the old precise search, which has its value. A lot of scholars still love the precise search in Logos, but for the vast majority of us, AI solves the problem. Where is it, right? So just make sure you're on Smart Search for Bible, Smart Search for books. We did both of those on desktop. Again, both of those features are now on mobile. But that email that you'll get will literally have every link that you need, every download link. But if you have old Logos, it will automatically update itself. But that could take a couple hours. So you might just have to go to bed tonight, open up Logos. You'll see it start doing its thing, get some good rest, and then tomorrow you can start geeking out with the new version of Logos. But it takes about an hour or two for the update to fully be installed. It's not a big update, but there's a lot going on that just kind of needs to happen. But the email will explain everything.
Yeah, I do want to say something, and I want the audience to please, be attentive to what I'm about to say. There's a person asking, hey, the email says no purchase necessary, and it looks like I do have to buy something even though there is no money exchange. And I say, well, we will be more careful with the wording on the email next time. So we do apologize for that, for the person who is a little upset about that. You still can get it. You're not going to get charged. And also for our brothers that are trying to kind of defend us on the chat, we appreciate that. But also we have to show the love and kindness of Christ through the stream, even though in the chat as well. So there's no need to malign the person who was a little upset about the wording, no purchase necessary. They went out on the email. We just have to be, we are recipients. We don't go to sacred space anymore. We are sacred space. We have the Holy Spirit within us. So we have to act accordingly. Okay. So I just wanted to clear the air right there. We have a question here is how much is the community membership? It's usually $9.99 a month or $99 a year. Right now, if you get the monthly membership, you will get 30% off. And if you get the yearly membership, you will get a 30% off on top of the 15% off you already get if you do yearly subscription. So it is just that simple. Go to drmsh.org.com and then you will click on the community tab, or just go to community.com, community.drmsh.com, and then you can sign up there. And Ron, give us a little bit about the dynamic that is happening with this systematic theology book. And I'm about to show on the screen also a live stream where you can actually go and hear Ron unpack more about the book.
Right. We're going to start uploading the chapters of the book, or an overview of each chapter, to help me and Mike. And Mike and I are, co-writing this book, and obviously Mike's not with us. So this is Mike and I together over the years, putting a lot of thoughts together. And now I'm summarizing a Divine Council systematic theology. So the reason I want to do this is because I really am interested in hearing from our community questions, comments, concerns, what constitutes a systematic theology of the Divine Council worldview. To me, that's a fluid concept, and I really want to have help in responding to some questions. So every other week, starting April 8th, and then every other, I believe that's a Tuesday night, we're having a live Q&A where you can come on and talk about the chapter that was dropped onto the community site 2 weeks prior. So that will be tomorrow, I guess, because tonight is gone with this. But tomorrow there will be a summary of chapter 1 dropped, and then you'll have on that site, then you'll have 2 weeks to look at it and talk and think about it. And then during that live Q&A every other week, that's where I'm excited just to talk with anyone who wants to come on live and discuss what's in there. So is that enough?
Yeah, that was good. And
Good.
I just put the community link on the chat so everybody is able to just click it. You can actually just scan. There is actually, let me go to the full screen. And it is about right there. There is a QR code. Just take a screenshot of your screen right now if you're watching on a phone, or just take your phone out and scan that on your phone, and it will take you directly into that, and you will get the 30% off. And it's every month for a year. So we're talking about 30% off every month for a year, not just the first month. Or you can get up to 45% off because you get the $20 off of the year and $99 a year, and then you get 30% off more. So I don't know, anything else, Scott?
No, again, just remember the cutoff is next Monday. So the last day of March, that will get you the free gift. That'll get you the free trial. Again, if it's not working out the way we said it was on the website for the price and all that, just go ahead and email webinar@logos.com tomorrow morning. Someone will reach out. We'll get anything fixed that needs to be fixed. And remember, too, if you have old logos, to get all these new features, you have to choose one of the new subscription levels to get the new tech, the new AI, the new features, and so on. And your price will come down because, again, we take care of our family. Yeah, dynamic pricing. So I had a guy the other day, Jorge, did 2 years pro up front, which should have been $285. I don't know. It was like $60. So again, just make sure you're logged into your account when you go to logos.com/Heiser, and you should see the prices reflect if you have old logos. And then again, it'll take a little bit. You'll get an email, but you'll have all the awesomeness of the new version of Logos. And I've told people this, and it's a truthful statement. I've been with Logos 28 years. With this new release, I have been in Logos more the last 3 months than the last 3 years prior to that. I am loving the new search capabilities in Logos. I'm finding things that I knew were there in years past, but I just couldn't get to them. That's what the AI in Logos solves. It finds what you're looking for. So hopefully after that 30 days, you'll become a believer. You go out and get the Logos tattoo. But I promise you, this will radically change the way you study the scripture. And that's why we do what we do. So thank you for attending tonight's live stream. Hey, thank you, Ron, for being a part of this as well.
And I hope everybody takes this. This is cool. AI won tonight.
Yeah. No, Ron. You did a fantastic job, and you were able to unpack things that AI don't do. But that's why we need to study. That is our job, to study, right? And to be able, we cannot just be wholly dependent on any of these tools, even before, even when he was, pen to paper, with the concordance, with whatever other tools we had. That is our job as Christians, is to love God with our minds as well. Okay. Now, before I go, Scott asking Coleman, it says, hey, for me, it's coming up $9 and stuff like that. Am I missing something?
That's probably dynamic pricing.
Right. So,
so if he's complaining about paying less,
no. What I'm saying, if you have any questions, just email Scott at webinar at, and actually I'm going to put it on the chat.
Yeah.
Right.
Webinar
at logos.com. So I'm going to put it right here on the chat.
It's funny. I was actually a little offended, Ron, when you said AI won, because when you gave your first answer, I was sitting there going, oh man, I wish I could have a tenth of Ron's brain. Like, you were just verse and verse. So the point is, to me, after listening to you give that answer, I am never going to be you. I'll never have your brain. I have to have Logos AI to even come close to an answer like the one you gave. But I think that's the point, is not everyone is a scholar. Not everyone has the depth and the breadth of the knowledge that you and Mike had. So that's why AI and Logos for me is like, amen. Because I do want to think like Ron, but that's not going to happen. So if I can at least find a good scholarly answer, amen. That's the power of the new version of Logos.
Love it, love it, love it. And before we go, don't forget, guys, that we have the new website, michaelsheiserfoundation.org. And here you can actually find a lot of the links that will portal to all of the content that Mike produced, and also the new content that the Michael S. Heiser Foundation is producing, like the Divine Council Worldview. We see Mike Chu over there in the chat. Howdy, Mike. We got Dr. Ron here, and obviously on the screen. Amazing podcast. I am blessed to produce the podcast. You can still support us. You can learn more about the foundation. And if you go to events here, you will see that we have the Image Conference going up. Ron, give us a quick synopsis of what you're going to be talking about on the Image Conference. And we also have a DCW trip, almost like the, Walk with Paul walk, but through the lens of the Divine Council Worldview. So tell us a little bit about the Image Conference. Where is happening and when?
May 2nd and 3rd, Anderson, Indiana. Just putting together, because just of common interest, Rich Baker is putting together a conference that is centered around the concept of the image of God. I'm speaking twice on what is a Divine Council Worldview and how the image details or dovetails into the atonement question. But otherwise, it's just a great time to get together and nerd out over Divine Council Worldview issues with people that you may have heard about and know about, and just friends that are gathering. So this is a chance to just spend a weekend. If you're in the Midwest or can get to Anderson. It's just outside of Indianapolis, so that's where it's going to be. The trip in November 9 to 19, is a tour of Greece, Athens, Ephesus, Thessalonica, Philippi, Corinth, and we're going to be studying, of course, the life of Paul and his ministry there through a DCW, specifically a DCW worldview. We were hired as a Heiser S Foundation to come along with this tour group to do the Bible teaching. So it's going to be, I think, the only time at least I'm aware of, that a tour like this will be from a Divine Council Worldview standpoint completely. So that's
pretty awesome.
In November.
Let's remember that the conference is free 99, meaning it's thanks to the foundation that you don't have to pay a penny to attend. All you have to do is come to the michaelsheiserfoundation.org, click on events, and come to the event attendee registration, and we will go from there. And with that being said, don't forget to get this amazing discount. Logos.com/Heiser, and make sure you get this mobile ed free gift, value of $225. You will get that in about a week. And with that being said, thanks everybody on the other side thank you for the community signups that we're getting. We're filling up the community, and I'm actually working with a developer. There was one question that was asked, and that question was related to the Android app, and we actually has been having an uphill battle with both Apple and Google to get the apps updated, because they ask you to update them every so often, and they're just they're not easy to work with. So for the Android, we will be able to have a link so you can download the APK and install it directly without having to go through the Google Play Store until they accept it. Same thing. We did a complete update of the DRMSH community app on Apple, and it's just getting harder and harder to get it through. But don't worry about it. We're working on it day in and day out. You can always log in through the web browser. I think that's the easiest way. And we about to actually unpack or unlock the subgroups for Ron to be doing the systematic theology book. So if everybody wants to get a sneak peek to the systematic theology book and help with the process of refining these chapters, all you have to do is sign up for the community, and that is going to be right now at 30% off if you do it monthly, and 45% off if you do it yearly. And with that being said, Scott, thank you so much for your time. I know that you have another meeting to go to, and you spare this time to teach us about this amazing tool. I will say, Ron, you deserve a round of applause, brother, because you definitely went toe to toe with AI. Amen. And also, we want to make sure that everybody on the other side of the screen keep supporting us and also get logos. So what better way for you to actually get logos? And by doing that, you're supporting us. Also sign up for the community. Fellas, thank you very much. God bless.
Thanks, guys.